lovely, lovely Tuesday. We're definitely moving at a slow pace this morning, but I am moving. I wanted to share crazy things that happen while you are in recovery. So, something that is definitely crazy that happens to me quite often, and this is how you know you've grown. This is how you know you've grown. Let me go get my truth stone while I talk to you guys. I get hit up by friends all the time who need help, who need prayer, and those types of things. And I'm there for them. I'm there for them. I don't leave them hanging. I try to help them in any way that I can. Looking for a rock. Hold on. And did I drop it? Is it on the floor? There's a rock there, but that's not it. Let me see. Oh, there she is. This lovely, lovely stone is called blue kyanite. And if you want to start living your truth, get yourself a piece, even a small, small blade. Whew, my stomach is not feeling good. My stomach's not feeling good at all. I hate this. Why? Why? You need to get some other type of cartridge. Look at that oil, and that's all going to be wasted because it won't go down. Jeez. Anyway, yeah, this isn't working. There we go. All right, so I have my truth stone and everything else. So, crazy things that happen while you're in recovery. You will have people calling you. The one thing I had happen to me when I first came home from prison. Sorry, guys. My GI is all messed up and I'm having like the hardest time this morning. So, when I got out of prison, things were going good, things were going great, and all of a sudden, this guy that I used to buy dope from, like, I find out that he says he's clean, he says he's doing good, he's got a job. Then all of a sudden, a couple weeks later, he hits me up and says, hey, can I stay at your place? And it's all raining and storming. We had like a hurricane coming. I was like, nope. And he said, oh, Nicole, you're supposed to be a Christian. And I said, being a Christian has nothing to do with it. I set boundaries. This is my home. This is my place of peace. This is my sacred space. And I don't let just anybody come into it. It's not my fault that you don't have a place to go. That's your fault. Because if you're doing so good and you're sober and you've got a job, there should be no reason why you don't have a place to stay. And I said this because I knew the same people he knew. And I knew that if they weren't letting him stay there, something was up. You will have people that will come into your life that will be like from your old crew. And they will insist that you help them. And they'll bring up all these times that they helped you. Let me tell you something. You owe no one nothing. I don't care if someone pushed you out of harm's way and took a bullet from you. You do not owe them jack diddly squat. You don't. I do not owe anybody from my past anything. I don't. I told my husband, because yeah, we do owe some money to our old drug dealer. I owe like maybe $500 to him because I had 47 grand and we went through it in like 3 or 4 months and I thought I was going to get more money. So he spotted me. Well, when I didn't get no more money, back then, I was like, well, I'll just go back to doing massages. I'll work. But I could never get well enough to do it because I was always in withdrawal and always so sick, which made no sense to me. If I'm a drug dealer and I know you owe me money, I'm going to give you dope to get you where you need to be so you can go work the streets and make that money. I mean, I'm just being real. But this guy, he didn't want to do that. And I told my husband, I said, if I ever see him again, I dare him to say anything about that money. I'll look right at him and say, I have no idea what you're talking about. I don't do drugs. You know? I mean, what's he going to do? Shoot me? Okay. I die and go to heaven. It's a win-win. So you don't owe anybody anything. Sorry. Please excuse me, y'all. It's the only relief I can get. Anyway, so that's one thing. You'll have people crazy from the past that will come up and demand that you do these things, and it's just ridiculous. Another thing that is very, very crazy that happens when you're in recovery, you won't fit in with your family anymore. You know, the family that begged you and begged you and begged you to get sober and to get clean and to quit living such a heinous life. Yeah, those people don't want you telling them about their problems. They don't want you telling them that they shouldn't drink. They don't want you telling them they shouldn't do this or do that. And then they just cut you off. And I know because I've had it happen. Excuse me, my stomach is really bothering me. There we go. So the family members that wanted you to get help, oh God, I've had family members that called me to pray for another family member because she was just really going through it. And then I flew out to see my kids, and this is my opinion. You know, I'm just going to be real. My mother was an alcoholic. When my dad left us, she really went through a hard time. And so I know all the signs of alcoholism. And I have another family member who died. I have a few family members who died from liver disease, kidney disease. And I'm just going to be real. Would you expect a mother of a child who overdosed on heroin to do heroin? Would you expect a mother of a child to do cocaine because their child overdosed on cocaine? Excuse me. Would you expect someone to continue drinking when drinking took the love of their life? That's what I don't understand, and I will never get it. If alcohol takes my loved one, alcohol has no place in... Sorry about that. It's my mother. One moment. I'll call you back. I'm busy right now. I'll call you right back. Yeah. Anyway. Sorry about that. But when you're in recovery, you're... Come on, baby. Come on. I know, when they come and cut the grass, it ain't no fun no more, is it? Sorry, y'all. My baby wanted in. Come on. We're going to shut that old door, too. When you are in recovery, you are going to notice other people who need to be in recovery. You're going to notice it. It's going to stick out like a sore thumb if you're truly sober. And then, you know what's going to happen? You are going to be hated because at some point you are going to speak up and you are going to say, hey, why don't you start going to some meetings? That's what you're going to do. And they're going to say, oh, I don't have a problem. I just have a drink with dinner every now and then. If you don't have a problem with alcohol, quit buying it and drinking it. Oh, I can't. Then you have an addiction. You have a problem. And I know that lots of people don't want to admit that, you know, but if you can't stop drinking, you ain't no different than the addict who can't stop using. And that's it. It's just as plain as day, black and white. Because if I get mad when you ask me to quit drinking ginger ale, well, that means I don't want to quit drinking it. That means I like it very much. But it's interesting. Why do you need ginger ale? Why do you need it? Why? Because it stops your brain from processing what you really need to be thinking about? Yeah. Alcohol is poison. And when you're in recovery from anything, you're going to notice so many people, they don't want to hear about it. They're happy you're sober, but they don't want you to dare cause them to change their comfortability. And it's a shame. You know, addiction tears families apart. And when you get in recovery and you're walking in recovery and the rest of your family is just using, it's sad. I have cried. I've cried over family members that came at me and told me I still looked like I was on drugs when I was suffering and we thought I had a tumor. Isn't that sad? And they did it because they're still using drugs. They don't have any teeth and they drink alcohol and yeah, so they're still using, and that's the truth. And whenever they said, you look like you're still on drugs to me on a post that I made, I was like, for someone who has no teeth, you don't have any right talking about how I look. And I'm sick. I dropped 40 pounds. I was diagnosed with stage 4 endometriosis and had an emergency hysterectomy. You know, family wants to make you look bad, especially if they're using. Because if they're talking, and I'm going to tell you something else. When you get sober, family can't talk bad about you anymore. You see, when you get sober, family is like, they don't talk bad about you anymore because they're so proud of you. But when your flaws, when your perfections start shining light on their imperfections, that's when you become the monster. That's when you're, oh, I'm in a cult and I'm this and I'm that, and it's like, but when you needed my help, you called me. You messaged me. You wanted my prayers. But when I told you that you too had work you needed to do, you didn't want to hear any more of that. I have a cousin who's doing pretty good, I guess. I don't really know. But she was doing really bad there for a while, and she was an alcoholic, and she was on meth. And if you're addicted to alcohol and meth, you don't need to be around either one. Well, I went and stayed there to visit, and when I did, there was a lot of crap going on that didn't need to be going on. Had one cousin yelling at me because the baby daddy deserves to come by and see his kids, and I'm like, first and foremost, the baby mama, this ain't her house, and the baby daddy isn't sober. Oh, he said he's a week sober. Sober people do not drive 3 hours out of their way to go to people's houses that they've been kicked out of. My family member had kicked him out of her home, and he decided to just drive up, and him and the other family member, they planned it. I heard her talking about the dope he had and everything. And so I confronted everyone. I was like, how can you do this? You got kids here. And of course, everybody's in denial. I'm a liar. I was like, I rebuke you in the name of Jesus. I am not a liar. I have no reason to lie. Like, you know what you're doing, and this isn't helping the situation. So, you know, one thing about being in recovery is you'll pick up on everybody's bullshit, and that's the only phrase I can use to describe it. I am hated because I won't co-sign anybody's bullshit, and that's the truth. I won't. If you ask me to do something and it puts my conscience in jeopardy, I'm not doing it. I'm not doing it. Point blank, period. My loyalty and my trust is important. My integrity, my authenticity, it's all important. People get mad because of the things I say, because it's true. And when you're in recovery, you're going to put up with that. You know how there's people out here that believe the earth is flat? Okay. You know how you talk to them because you think they're crazy? Well, guess what? That is how you will be spoken to when you start living a life of perfect truth. because everyone is still deceived around you. It's sad. Everybody loves you until you don't fit inside their little box anymore. I had a family member get mad at me because they insisted that the Masonic Society was demonic. And I said, where do you gather this information? From a bunch of people on Facebook talking about it? I said, let me tell you something. To say that every single member of the Masonic Society is a demonic, evil individual is saying all white people are redneck hillbillies or all black people are lazy. Do you hear how dumb I sound? That's how dumb these people sounded to me. A select few cannot be responsible for an entire society. And if you would do some research, you would learn that the Illuminati is responsible for most of what you guys are going after. The Illuminati and the Masonic Society use very similar same symbolism. They do a lot of the same things, but you cannot be a member of the Masonic Society and be a member of the Illuminati. See, if you'd go and look up these rules and learn this stuff, you'd understand. But she said that, oh, the King James Version, that's the only version you should read if you read the Bible. And I'm like, you do know that's a Masonic Bible, right? What? No, it's not. Yeah, it is. King James was a Freemason. And nothing else was said about it. I made a post on Facebook about King. I put the whole history out there. I showed the documents where King James had signed his name dozens of times in these Scottish Rite meetings, Masonic meetings. I decided to also put King James's history up because, after all, he is my 14th cousin. I decided to put all of his history up, talking about how he was involved in witchcraft and divinity tools. Before he was King of England, he was King of Scotland, and him and Queen Mary were a part of the Druids. The Druids used to sacrifice their own people, okay? That's a cult, by the way. And then, when he became King of England, he decided, after reading putting the scriptures together and all that he would live it. And he didn't want anybody coming and talking about the things he used to do. So, to get rid of all the witnesses, he went back to his sister's kingdom and slaughtered the entire village. Talk about erasing history. King James was a Freemason. So for those of you who sit and talk about Masons being demonic, then I guess you better throw away that King James Bible you're holding, because it's a Masonic Bible. And while you're at it, why don't you actually go look up the history of that Bible? The Old Testament, just go read the Torah, because the Old Testament has been changed from the Torah. And the Torah is what Jesus read and what Jesus followed. 10 Commandments, try 613. You've been given half of the story. Yeah. Yet you want everyone to fit inside this tiny little box. This is all there is and that's it. Well, you're just following exactly what Parliament wanted you to follow. So when you get in recovery, your truth is going to start being your advocate, and you're going to realize, I can't do this fake stuff anymore. I can't deal with people who aren't real. I have a friend. Oh my God, I have a friend who is so blessed to have her children, and she's still out there messing up. And I don't say nothing. I pray. I have sent a message and told her, hey, here's some Celebrate Recovery meetings near your area. She's got her 3 kids, and her family does help out. But I look at people like that, and I'm like, your children are going to look back, and they are going to know every time you lied. The longer you keep going on, the more lies you have to tell, the more hurt you're causing your kids. When my boys turn 18 and they want to come meet me, I'm not going to be high and tweaked out on something. Ain't going to be no question about whether I'm sober or not. That's why I do what I do. That's why I want to help people in recovery. Does it hurt? Yeah, it's going to hurt. It's going to hurt because I'm not going to co-sign your BS. I am going to tell you how it is and how it's going to be. And the way it is it's going to be hell on earth if you don't stop. But if you will stop and start being honest, you'll start seeing joy and healing coming your way. Is there still going to be hurt? Sure, there will. But if you will do things the way I instruct you, you will be able to handle the hurt that you endure like never before, because you will begin to strengthen. Truth strengthens you. When you operate in a high vibrational frequency, evil can't do anything but run. So I hope to see you guys next time. Feel free to leave some comments, questions, concerns, and stay peaceful out there. It's dangerous these days.